As the heir of a wealthy family, I pursued April for 5 years, yet she remained completely unmoved. Until the second conqueror arrived. He was confident, direct, and somehow managed to spend a night with April almost immediately. I admitted defeat and prepared to retreat quietly. But who could have expected that when she couldn't find me, April's eyes would turn red from crying? When Santiago arrived in this world, I understood that even the system had given up on me. Standing at April's door, I could hear the sound of their laughter leaking through the panel. I squeezed the box of chocolates in my hand, turned around, and walked away. That had been my last chance. And I failed again. Sometimes you have to accept that the bonds between people are subtle and uncontrollable. April had been my target, yet I had accidentally fallen in love with her for real. And no matter how hard I tried, she never once stepped toward me. The laughter in the room felt like a knife in my chest. Fairness doesn't exist in matters of the heart. Santiago had just arrived, and already he received the tenderness I had sought for 5 whole years but could never reach. I went home and waited quietly for the system's punishment, but none came. At midnight, the system finally appeared, late, but still using that same gentle female voice, though this time it sounded out of breath. It told me it had made a special request on my behalf. Despite my failure to conquer the target, I had expanded the Chan Corporation twofold and made significant contributions to the world. Because of that, there were now 2 follow-up options. First, it could assign me a new target with another 5 years. If I succeeded, I could return to my original world and regain my healthy body. Second, the conquest could be cancelled. I wouldn't be able to return to my original world, but I could stay here and continue living as Paul. I was stunned. A new target. In my original world, I had never been in a relationship. All the clumsy sincerity and affection I had ever felt had been poured into April in this world. 5 years had drained every illusion I once had about love. And staying here. In the original world, I had been weak, sickly, bedridden for years with no family or friends. Here, although I had come for a mission, I had family, friends, and the Chan Corporation that I built with my own hands. On countless sleepless nights, my partners and I had strategized, negotiated, and expanded the business. I treated everyone here with genuine care. Could I let that go? I wiped the dampness gathering in my eyes. No, I couldn't. I chose the second option. The system asked if I was sure. Once I chose it, I could never go back. I closed my eyes and said yes, thanking it. The system sighed and told me there was no need to thank it. I had given my all for 5 years. And though it was just a system, it had feelings too. It said it had witnessed all my efforts. April simply wasn't good enough for me. Today was the last day. Tomorrow it would move on to its next job. It wished me happiness every day from now on. Happiness. April's face surfaced in my mind again. Even the system was siding with me now, which only proved how much April must have disliked me. But it no longer mattered. From now on, I would stop liking her. The next day, I went to work as usual. When I checked my phone for business matters, April's chat was still pinned at the top. The last message was the one I had sent. April, I've learned how to make your favorite hazelnut chocolate. How about I bring it over this weekend? There had been no reply. It had sunk without a trace, like always. Over the years, aside from a few rare moments when she showed warmth, everything felt like a one-man performance. The first time was after we had both drunk too much at a business event. On the way back, I had clung to her sleeve and even ruined her custom silk gown by vomiting on it. Instead of giving me her usual cold stare, she calmly cleaned both of us up and took me home. She brushed my teeth, washed my face, and threw me into a bathtub. That night, in my drunken haze, I clung to her like a koala. When I felt her lips, I thought I was dreaming. Her kiss had been soft and proactive, and the night drifted past like a blur of warmth and illusion. But in the morning, she was gone. Only the Liu family's housekeeper waited, warming breakfast and politely asking what I wanted to eat. Another time, after a business failure where I had been taken advantage of and suffered heavy losses, I drank alone by the river. April's car suddenly stopped. She claimed she had just happened to pass by. She told me that I was already an amazing CEO and one failure wasn't worth drowning in misery. She stayed with me by the river for a long time. Eventually, I passed out in her arms, and she had her driver take me home. In the car, I lay in her embrace, and in my drunkenness I tried to reach for her lips, but she dodged me. Later, I learned she had only come to comfort me because she didn't want my bad state to affect an important business meeting the next day, one that was crucial to the Liu family's interests. That was how the 5 years had gone. Every time I thought I had received a bit of sweetness, cold reality drenched me. April didn't like me. Not even a little. All the pieces I clung to were just fantasies. I finally raised my hand and unpinned our chat. At noon, my assistant Pablo entered and asked, "Mr. Chan, you haven't given me today's lunch for Miss Liu." I paused and told him I didn't make it. No need to send anything. The Chan and Liu corporations were in twin towers very close to each other. April had a sensitive stomach and allergies, so her food had to be prepared with special care. Despite all precautions, she still ended up in the hospital several times due to eating something wrong. I never trusted anyone else with her meals, so I always cooked them myself, no matter how tired or busy I was. From now on, I told him, there was no need. Someone else would make them. Pablo looked confused, but nodded. But at 1 o'clock, as I was napping, my phone rang. It was April's secretary, Emma. She apologized and explained that there was no lunch delivered today, and Miss Liu was still waiting. I fell silent for a moment. I asked her what kind of special meal they used to order before I started cooking. She said it had been a 1,000 yuan special meal. I told her to continue ordering that. And I added calmly, "Please tell Miss Liu I won't be delivering lunch anymore." Getting woken from a nap tends to make one irritable, but I didn't expect that by 3 o'clock Pablo would return saying April had a stomachache. She had eaten something too spicy. Emma was worried, but April refused to go to the hospital. Pablo reminded me that in the past, whenever April had a stomachache, I made her medicinal soup. I told him to Google it. If April didn't know how to make it, she should go to the hospital sooner rather than later. Allergic reactions could be fatal. To be fair, I had cared so much before that Emma had gotten used to notifying me. Moments later, the receptionist called saying a Mr. Santiago was here to see me. He had said that if I heard the word conquest, I would understand. I paused and told them to send him up. When Santiago entered, he looked around with curiosity. He sat down and asked if I was the previous conqueror the system had mentioned. I nodded. He asked if he could call me by my first name. I agreed. Then he asked if I really couldn't conquer April in 5 years. I hesitated, but admitted it. He found it strange, saying she was pretty easy to win over. She had even let him stay over the previous night. I was stunned. He clarified that she had been drunk, and nothing had actually happened, but he still winked and said she got drunk easily and seemed easy to seduce, with soft lips that felt nice. I cut him off and asked what he was here for. Annoyed, he explained he needed help. April hadn't eaten past 2 in the afternoon, and she refused to say what she wanted. When he asked, she told him to decide. So he ordered takeout based on what he liked. After she ate the stir-fried noodles, her stomach started hurting. He panicked, afraid the goodwill he earned last night would be ruined. Emma mentioned I used to cook for her, so he came to me. Since I wasn't pursuing her anymore, couldn't I pass on my experience? He begged me to help. I told him I actually didn't have much conquest experience. Even though this was a mission, the people in this world were real. I believed sincerity had to be exchanged with sincerity. He looked confused and said they were just targets and NPCs. I told him this world wasn't much different from ours. Whether he wanted to win someone over or not, he should truly understand them, not rely on shallow tricks. But he said he didn't have time. He came to this world for his mother. She was dying, and he needed to finish the mission within a year to save her. He buried his head in his hands, pained. I sighed, stood up, took a small notebook from the bookshelf, and gave it to him. It contained all the special recipes I had developed over 5 years and instructions for what to do during allergic reactions or stomachaches. He flipped through a few pages and exclaimed at how detailed it was. He said it wasn't just a guide, it was sincerity. But I couldn't bring myself to say it aloud. What right did a failure like me have to talk about sincerity? Then he asked for another favor. April didn't know he was a conqueror. She only knew about me. Please keep his identity a secret. I froze. I asked what he meant. He casually said April had drunkenly told him last night. She had overheard my conversation with the system and knew I had been trying to conquer her. His words stirred a ripple in my heart, but the feeling faded quickly. Whether she knew or not, what difference did it make? It was all over. A few days later, I attended a business banquet where April was also present. Santiago stood beside her, her arm linked through his. I only glanced once, then turned back to chatting with others. Socializing is tiring, but often unavoidable. While speaking to the president of Lu Corporation, he suddenly waved at someone behind me. Miss Lu approached, without Santiago. The president teased us about a rumor that we were about to get married. In the past, whenever someone teased us, I would stupidly hope she'd say something unexpected. How ridiculous! April stayed calm, not cold, but not denying or confirming anything. I told Mr. Lu it was just a rumor, and he shouldn't believe it. I added that she had brought a date tonight, a handsome one. Mr. Lu looked amused. After a few more exchanges, I excused myself and went to the second-floor balcony. There was a sofa there that I liked to rest on when tired. Behind it was a door leading to a lounge. The door wasn't soundproof. As I sat down, a familiar male voice came through clearly. Santiago. He mocked me, calling me an idiot and questioning whether the system even interviewed conquerors or just picked them by appearance. He bragged that he had fooled me with an act about his mother's illness and wondered whether it was his great acting or my stupidity. He said I was naive, though admittedly good-looking, almost as good as him. No wonder I couldn't conquer April in 5 years. He said he was amazed that I, an NPC stuck in this world, had dared to lecture him about sincerity and genuine care. I spoke through the door, too loud. Silence fell. After some rustling, the door opened and Santiago stood there pale. "Paul," he muttered. I looked at him and said calmly, "Here's some advice. This door isn't soundproof. You're disturbing my rest." His expression shifted through several emotions. "Brother, don't get the wrong idea. I didn't mean it like that. It doesn't matter anymore." He looked anxious. "You're not going to be petty about this and tell April I'm a conqueror, right?" I shook my head. "I won't. I'm not interested in your affairs. Rest assured. But from now on, don't come looking for me and don't ask me for any more tips on conquering. I don't like you." He bit his lip and finally muttered, "Fine," before turning and walking away, probably off to find April. The balcony finally fell quiet. I closed my eyes to rest for a moment, and when I opened them, April was standing in front of me. I had no idea when she'd arrived or how long she'd been watching. "You always hide here when you're tired," she said. "Do you need something?" I stood and frowned. She hesitated. "Santiago is simple-minded. We're just colleagues. Don't make things difficult for him just because I brought him here." Ah, so she came to blame me. Looking at April, I suddenly felt foolish for the way I had once been. "You're overthinking this, Miss Lu," I said with a smile. "Why would I trouble your assistant? Jealous because he can be by your side." She frowned. "You don't have to say it like that. April, I'm not trying to conquer you anymore." She froze. "What did you say?" There was no need to hide anything now. "You've known all along that I came here on a conquest mission, haven't you?" I smiled. "Was it that night, the first night?" After Santiago told me, I thought about it a long time. I had always been careful to speak with the system only when I was alone, except that night, our first night together. In the middle of the night, I woke so full of happiness I couldn't fall back asleep. I crept into the living room and summoned the system. "System, am I about to succeed in the conquest?" "Well, just having a physical relationship doesn't mean you've conquered her. She has to fall in love with you." I remembered her passionate kiss before I fell asleep and felt confident. "She'll love me." The system chuckled. "I'll congratulate you in advance then. When it happens, I'll probably be so happy I'll spin in circles." After chatting for a while, I heard a faint noise from the bedroom and immediately fell silent, tiptoeing back. April was still fast asleep. I relaxed. "I'm guessing you were awake then and overheard my conversation with the system, right?" I smiled. She didn't respond, which was as good as an admission. I'm sorry for bothering you for so long, but don't worry, it won't happen again." I turned to leave, but she suddenly grabbed my hand. "What do you mean by, it won't happen again?" Her eyes widened, her voice carrying a barely perceptible tremble. "I mean, since you don't love me, my conquest mission has failed. The system is gone. I won't try to conquer you anymore. You can rest easy. From now on we won't have any interaction outside of work. Of course, if you'd rather not work with me at all, I can gradually scale back the collaboration between Chan Corporation and Lu Corporation, though I don't see the point in throwing away money." I turned to leave. "So all these years of saying you liked me was just for the conquest?" Her voice came from behind me and I stopped. She stepped closer. "Did you really only see me as a target with no other feelings involved?" "That's not true. But with all my love fading away, what was the point of explaining? Think whatever you like. People always believe what they want to believe. For 5 years I had foolishly believed my love was shown through small acts of care, affectionate gazes, relentless pursuit. Even if she knew I was a conqueror, love and sincerity should still be felt. But she chose to believe her own assumptions and turned a blind eye." Footsteps approached from behind. "Paul!" April rushed forward and grabbed me as if holding on to something about to slip away. "But I was never her treasure. Never. You've been lying to me, haven't you? You never really loved me." She stared into my eyes. I knew what she wanted, proof that she hadn't been wrong, that she hadn't made a mistake. I met her gaze. "It was all sincere," I said. "What?" She froze. "I came with a mission to conquer you, but I really did love you. April, in the business world you and I are alike, adept at reading people. Did you really never realize my feelings for you were genuine?" When I left, April still stood on the balcony, dazed. After a few polite exchanges with business associates, I prepared to go home. Pablo waited at the entrance. "Mr. Chan, are we heading back now?" "Yes." "And Miss Lu?" "We're not waiting." In the past, whether at events or meetings, I would always wait for April. She was a lightweight with alcohol, and in business it's impossible to avoid drinking. I never felt at ease until I saw her assistant help her into a car. Pablo hesitated before saying in a low voice, "It seems like Miss Lu has been looking at you this whole time." I froze and turned. April had somehow moved to the hall entrance and stood not far away. Santiago chatted with her, smiling, but her eyes were fixed on me. Our gazes met, and this time I was the first to look away. "Let's go. I won't be waiting anymore." The next few days were busy because my grandmother's birthday was approaching. I hosted a banquet at home and invited some of her friends, including Mr. Lu from the Lu family. Unexpectedly, April came too. She wore a lovely brooch, and after a moment I realized it was the birthday gift I had given her a year ago. I had even designed it myself. She had never worn it before. During dinner, I personally served noodles to each elder. Grandma Chan looked at me and couldn't help but admire. "Oh my, why don't I have a grandson like Paul? These noodles are just too delicious. He's handsome, manages a company, and can cook too. Old Mr. Chan, how on earth did you get such a wonderful grandson?" "You don't stand a chance," my grandmother laughed. Everyone burst into laughter, and another elder glanced at the quiet April and teased, "Paul's no longer young. When does he plan to get married?" In the past, elders teased April and me like this, and my affection for her had been obvious to anyone with eyes, but she never responded. I stood and poured wine for the elders, smiling. "I'm still single. If you know anyone suitable, I'd be happy to meet them. If it works out, I'll give you a big red envelope when I get married." Clink. April's cup tipped over. Servants rushed to clean the table, her dress, and the brooch. "I'll take care of the brooch myself, thank you," she said softly. "April, would you like me to introduce someone for you too?" the elder prodded. She paused as she wiped the brooch. "No, that won't be necessary, thank you." Everyone present, including my grandmother, were sharp-minded elders. After a while she asked Mr. Lu if he'd like to play chess, and he accepted. Others wanted to watch, and in an instant the table was left with only April and me. In the past I would have been overjoyed at being alone with her and would have strained for new things to say. But now I had no desire to speak. Around us the hall buzzed with people watching the chess match, offering advice. At our table, only the sound of bowls and chopsticks remained. "You made the noodles?" she suddenly asked.
Yes.
"Making noodles is quite the skill."
Yes.
"Who taught you?" I put down my bowl. "If you don't like them, you don't have to eat them." She froze. "That's not what I meant. I'm full." I rose and headed to the third-floor terrace. Grandma loved lively celebrations, so I had arranged fireworks there. To my surprise, she followed. "Let me help," she said. "Everything's ready. You can go downstairs and watch with everyone else." But she didn't leave. "Do you need something else?" I went to the mall yesterday and saw a tie I thought would suit you. You've got it wrong. Today is my grandmother's birthday, not mine." Silence fell. Just as I finished inspecting everything and was about to go back down, she spoke again. "That night I heard everything, your conversation with the system. I couldn't stand being deceived, which is why I left so early the next morning." "You didn't hear everything," I said. "What?" She looked confused. That night later I had said more. After making sure she was asleep, I had sneaked into another room and asked the system one more thing. I asked the system if after completing the conquest I could choose to stay in this world. I looked up at the dark sky. I told it I didn't want to leave you, that I wanted to stay with you forever. That night I was overjoyed, not just because our relationship had progressed, but because the system agreed to help me apply for permission to stay with you after the conquest, to remain in this world. Maybe it was fate. I did end up staying in this world. But it has nothing to do with April anymore. After speaking, I went downstairs. April hesitated but followed. "Paul, Mr. Chan, the gate staff said there's a Mr. Han here to see you," the housekeeper said at the bottom of the stairs.
Santiago.
"What is he doing here?" Curious, I stepped outside and saw Santiago at the villa entrance holding a gift box. April followed, equally confused. "What are you doing here?" I heard it's your grandmother's birthday, so I brought a small gift," he stammered. "You wouldn't mind, right, Mr. Chan?" I clearly remembered telling him not to appear before me again. "Mr. Chan, could you come over for a moment?" He appeared cautious. I took a couple of steps toward him. Suddenly he leaned close to my ear. "Brother, I'm at a critical stage of my conquest. Help me out by playing along." With that he grabbed my hand and flung the gift away himself, stumbling back a few steps before collapsing to the ground. "Ah!" His face twisted in pain as he looked past me at April. From her angle she couldn't see my hand movements behind me. Realizing Santiago's ploy, I sighed. Sure enough, April quickly approached. "What's going on?" she asked, frowning. "April." "I was just trying to give Mr. Chan a gift, but you weren't invited. You shouldn't have come in the first place," April said coldly. What?" His eyes widened. He clearly hadn't expected this. But the outcome was predictable. The April I knew wouldn't be swayed by such petty tricks. She might have been indifferent to me before, but she wasn't a brainless heroine. If she couldn't see through such a simple ruse, the Liu family would have fallen long ago. Santiago's risky move using me backfired. In the end, April called the villa steward and security and had Santiago escorted out. Once everything quieted, April turned to me and apologized. "It's my grandmother's birthday today." I sighed. "If your little boyfriend's stunt gets photographed and appears in the news, I'd appreciate it if you, Miss Liu, could handle it." April frowned. "He's not my boyfriend." She suddenly stood in front of me. "Paul, I like you." I froze, staring at her in disbelief. She took my hand. April's hands are beautiful. I had often hoped those hands would one day reach for mine. "I've thought it through. I like you. Before, I just thought you had ulterior motives for getting close to me. I didn't want to fall for someone who was just using me to complete a conquest mission. I didn't want to give my feelings and be met with betrayal, so April, I once heard a saying. I interrupted. "True love never lies." I gently pulled my hand away. "April, you don't love me. You're just in love with the idea of protecting yourself from getting hurt." After the fireworks and once the guests had left, I returned to the villa. "These old folks eat so little," the housekeeper commented as she cleaned. "They're getting old and their appetites are shrinking." Then she chuckled. "Except for Miss Lou, she finished every single noodle. She eats so much it's hard to believe she's the one with stomach issues and allergies." I smiled and went upstairs to find my grandmother in the study, waving excitedly. "Paul, come here. I'm going over the chess game I played with old Mr. Lou. What's the best move here?" I sat and studied the board before gently placing a piece. "Brilliant," Grandma clapped and laughed. "Truly brilliant. To think I taught you Go and now you're better than me." "That's because you're a great teacher." Then, casual as if it were nothing, she asked, "Have you had a falling out with that girl from the Lou family?" I hesitated. "Grandma, I don't like her any more." "Oh." She held a chess piece in her hand, her sharp eyes glinting. "You liked her for 5 years and now you just don't?"
Yes.
I lowered my head. "Do you think I'm being too impulsive?" The air went quiet. She suddenly put down the chess piece and sat up straight. "Grandson, who do you think has the right to be impulsive in this world?" I looked up at her, confused. "Someone who, in their 20s, took over a corporation and doubled its size in just a few years, accomplishing what his grandparents couldn't in a lifetime. Do you think someone like that has the right to be impulsive?" "Grandma." I stared at her, stunned. She smiled, leaned forward, and patted my head. "You, my dear, are anything but impulsive. You've earned the right to be impulsive, and it makes me happy." My eyes stung, and I leaned over to hug her like a child. "Thank you, Grandma." "My silly boy," she said softly. "There are many wonderful things in this world besides love." After my grandmother's birthday, I went straight back into work. One day, while I was in my office, the door suddenly opened. To my surprise, it was my distant cousin, the one who runs a modeling agency abroad. She walked in with 10 handsome men, all different skin tones. Me. "What's going on?" My cousin sat on the sofa and handed me a box. "This is a gift from our grandmother." Confused, I opened it. Inside was a note in my grandmother's handwriting. "Grandson, Grandma is not old-fashioned, and no matter what, I support you." I almost spit out my tea. "Can you explain what this is about?" I asked through clenched teeth. She blinked innocently. "Oh, isn't it obvious? I visited Grandma this morning and she mentioned that you still don't have a girlfriend, so I shared some knowledge. After thinking about it, Grandma said I should bring these guys to you. They're the best models from my agency. Take a look and pick one you like to chat with." Me. "You have 1 minute to get them out of here." Cousin. "No, brother, I went through so much trouble to bring them." Looking at the 10 handsome men standing there, I pinched the bridge of my nose. "Fine. Have them go out to the office area and help distribute desserts to the staff." "Are you sure you don't want to keep one? Are you sure you want to miss your 3rd round of funding?" She immediately changed her tune. "They're leaving right away." But even after the 10 models left, she stayed, hovering around. "Anything else?" I asked. She leaned in. "Brother, I heard you have a top-notch gym behind your office. Can I take a look?" "If you keep filling Grandma's head with nonsense," I tapped my desk, "don't blame me later." "I promise I won't do it again." She raised her hands. "Fine." Behind my office was a private mini-gym. I took her there and pointed at the equipment. "If you want, pick something and work out." My cousin happily went to exercise. Me. "Oh well, if she's happy." I got on the treadmill. A few minutes later, she suddenly stopped lifting weights, looking uneasy. "Brother, I think there's a creepy woman in the building across from us." "Huh." She walked over and pointed out the window. "Look, that woman over there has been staring at us for a while." I glanced over. April stood in the opposite office building, holding a cup of tea, eyes fixed on us. My cousin, who had lived abroad for years and didn't know April, shivered. "Is she a stalker or something?" "Don't worry about it," I replied calmly. "Just close the blinds." "Got it." She went to pull the curtains but tripped, and I quickly reached out to steady her. From April's angle, it probably looked like we were kissing. Then the curtains slid closed. At the end of the day, my cousin came to say goodbye with her 10 models in tow. I told her not to come back unless necessary. Judging by the office chaos, no female employee had been able to concentrate, and even a few of the male ones seemed distracted. As I passed the secretary's office, I noticed Pablo was still there. "Why aren't you off work yet?" I asked. He looked miserable. "Because Emma has to work overtime today."
Emma.
Lou Corporation's Emma? What does her overtime have to do with you? She's my girlfriend. Mr. Chan, realizing what he said, Pablo jumped up, panicked. We're not. It's fine, I said, surprised but not bothered. You're free to date. Don't worry about what I think. No wonder he always knew all the Lou family gossip. Actually, we kind of got together because I kept helping you deliver lunch and messages to Miss Lou. He scratched his head shyly. By the way, Mr. Chan, did you know Miss Lou got hurt? Miss Lou somehow cut her hand on broken teacup shards. Emma's taking her to the hospital for stitches. Oh, you don't seem too concerned, he mumbled. Nope. I smiled. So from now on, don't bother telling me about Miss Lou. The next day, I saw April in the lobby. Her right hand was wrapped in bandages. Can you give me some time? She asked softly. April, I sighed, if this is about work, handle it with the team. It's not about work, she cut in. Please, Paul. Just 5 minutes. I frowned. She reached out and held my hand. Paul, if what's bothering you is Santiago, I've already made things clear with him. I admit I used him at first to get back at you. I hated how much control you had over me. I wanted to make myself like someone else, to try to love someone who genuinely cared about me. But I couldn't. Her voice softened. Now I realize I can't stand seeing you with someone else. Please don't be angry anymore. Okay. April, you've misunderstood, I said calmly. This isn't about anyone else and I'm not angry. I just don't love you anymore. And you still don't understand the difference between possessiveness and love. For 5 years she had never given me a clear answer. She didn't love me, but she never let me go. She accepted my kindness yet always pushed me away, keeping me hanging on to a tiny shred of hope. You just don't want to lose something that was once yours. No, she shook her head, desperate, eyes filled with pain. I really do love you. In the middle of this, I noticed someone standing outside like a ghost, Santiago. Our eyes met. He forced a smile and walked in. April followed my gaze. Santiago, why aren't you answering my calls? He asked, voice trembling as he stepped closer. Why did you have HR talk to me about canceling my contract? Why won't you see me? Santiago, April frowned. Maybe I gave you the wrong impression, but we already made things clear. Made things clear? He suddenly shouted. I like you. I love you. Can't you see that? When we met, you said you liked my personality, that I was kind-hearted, that you liked my voice. You were falling for me. I'm sorry, April said. You're a great person, and I know you genuinely like me, but I don't have feelings for you. Santiago stared at her, shocked. Then he pointed at me. It's because of him, isn't it? He told you, didn't he? Told you I'm a conqueror, right? What? April froze. How could you be so cruel? He threw the notebook I had given him onto the floor. You used me to test her true feelings. You failed your conquest, so why are you still meddling? You've misunderstood. I didn't tell her, I said calmly. I don't care whether you succeed or not. You're lying. If you didn't tell her, then why doesn't she like me? You failed, so you don't want me to succeed either. There was no point arguing with someone so irrational. Security, I called. Santiago was dragged out, still screaming. April had been frozen since the word conquest. She trembled as she bent down to pick up the notebook. This. He asked for it. If he doesn't need it anymore, throw it away. But she clutched it tightly, overwhelmed. April, I said, what you once thought was certain wasn't true. You've never truly understood how to tell real love from anything else. And the truth came sooner than expected. Paul, what he said, Her voice shook. It's all true. I looked her in the eyes. Both Santiago and I are conquerors. After that day, April changed. There were lunches on my desk every day, messages asking how I was, small gifts. I heard she was learning to cook. Everything reversed. She lowered herself completely, doing everything I once did for her. But I felt nothing. Months passed. Outside of work, I barely acknowledged her, yet she persisted. One evening, after work, a light drizzle fell. She waited at the door like always. This time, I didn't ignore her. I walked over. Let's take a walk. Her eyes lit up. Okay. We walked past the corner, no umbrella. Do you remember where we first met? I asked. She froze. It was at this corner cafe. That day, after living in this world for 22 years, I finally learned who my conquest target was. And then I saw you. Love at first sight. Later, the system told me you were my conquest target. Do you know how happy I was? The girl I fell for at first glance was my target. What could be more fortunate? Paul. She reached out nervously. I avoided her hand and smiled. April, this was always the secret tied to the moment I fell for you. When I first started the conquest, before bed, I would imagine how, on our wedding night, I would tell you this. I imagined kissing you gently, teasing you, and when you begged, I'd whisper, "Honey, I actually have a system that asked me to conquer you." But before it told me to, I had already fallen for you. But I never got to live that night. Not even after 5 years. Paul, she grabbed my hand, tears in her eyes. I won't make you wait any more. You're misunderstanding. I shook my head. The reason I can say this calmly is because I've moved on. That love I had for you over 5 years, it's gone. April, let's end this where it all began. She froze, then shook her head. Paul, I'm not letting go. I love you. I know it took me too long, but it's not too late. I'll treat you twice as well. I'll be by your side. Wherever you go, I'll go. Whatever you do, I'll do it with you. It's too late. It's not. She gripped my hand tightly. Isn't this perfect? You have no conquest pressure anymore, and I finally understand my heart. Please give me a chance. Let's be good to each other. A cold laugh came from nearby. If you two will be fine, what about me? Santiago stood there, someone I hadn't seen in months. April, I've done so much for you these past few months. Why do you keep ignoring me? Why are you so cold? Do you know what'll happen if I fail my conquest? Why don't you love me? How can you not love me? Paul, a voice echoed in my mind. System. I froze. You're back. I was worried about you, the system said. Be careful of the other conqueror. Headquarters has flagged his mental state as critical. Before it even finished, Santiago pulled out a knife. His face was pale, his smile twisted. Why does Paul get to walk away after failing his conquest, but I have to be erased? System, where are you? Show yourself, he screamed, waving the knife. Paul cheated. Why doesn't he have to die? He failed just like I did. His system must have said something. I don't care. I don't care, he screamed, charging at me. Watch out. April shouted. In a flash, I spun, disarmed him, and pinned him to the ground. What? He stared up at me, shocked. How is this possible? My family was afraid I'd get kidnapped, so I've trained in martial arts since childhood. Handling you is nothing. I released him and he collapsed to the floor. I told you before, people in this world aren't NPCs in your game. If you want to win someone over, you need to understand them. You didn't understand me, yet you dared pull a knife on me. No, no, he muttered, breaking into tears. Please, system, just give me one more chance. I can do it. Please don't. Is it time already? There's still time, right? I can make her love me. She's about to love me. I almost killed Paul, and if I had, April would love me. If all else fails, I'll drug her. I can do it, please. In the distance, the clock tower struck 12 noon. His voice fell silent. Santiago was erased. The doctors and police arrived shortly after. The official cause of Santiago's death was declared as a sudden heart attack. His path in the game had been different from mine. I had chosen to grow up in this world, waiting for my task to arrive, while he had chosen to enter the world partway through, adopting an established identity to complete his mission. He had no family or friends here. The scene was quickly cleaned up. System, in another world, will he have a second chance? I asked softly. The system sighed. He signed up for a fast-track game contract. The rewards he wanted were not only a healthy body in his original world, but also endless wealth. The more you desire, the harsher the punishment for failing. If his system doesn't erase him according to the rules, it would face consequences like losing promotions and raises. If his system pleaded on his behalf, the best outcome would be for him to return to his original world. But even then, he wasn't going to live much longer there either. I sighed. Why did this happen? April asked in a daze. He's really dead. Those are the rules of the game. If you fail to complete the conquest, you're erased, I answered. But you're perfectly fine. My system made a special request for me. Without her, I would have died on the day you met Santiago. This was always a cruel game. A game where lives were wagered. We, the ones clinging to life in our original worlds, came here with desires. Naturally, we had to follow and accept the rules of the game. I was just lucky enough to glimpse a bit of warmth in an otherwise cold game. How could this happen? April muttered. How could this be? How could someone really die? I don't know. She lifted her hand, trembling slightly. Paul, I really didn't know. You didn't know, I said, turning away from her hand. But for 5 years, you had countless opportunities to ask me. I had countless moments when I wanted to tell you, but every time, you pushed me away with your coldness. So many times, when I turned to look at her, she looked away. So many times, when I tried to hold her, she turned her back on me. The fear of death for failing the conquest, the emptiness of a love that could never be returned. How I wished she could have turned around just to see me, even if she didn't say a word, just listening would have been enough. But she never gave me that chance. It's enough now. She stepped forward, grabbing my hand, her voice trembling. Paul, I was wrong. I was wrong to try and test your sincerity, wrong to not cherish your love. I was arrogant and insecure, unable to believe you truly liked me, unwilling to lower myself to reach out to you. You gave me the most precious love. You nearly gave your life for me. Paul, her eyes red, her voice pleading, please give me one more chance, okay? I shook my head. It's over. No, it's not over. The conquest may be over, but deep down, you still love me, don't you? She clung to my hand, interlocking our fingers. You didn't leave this world, that's fate, isn't it? I love you, and this time I'll be the one chasing you. We can start over. I shook my head. In this world, not every broken thing can be mended. After all this time, you still don't understand. I gently took a step back. It's true I didn't leave this world. But I'm leaving you. That night, when I lay in bed waiting to die, that's when I stopped loving you. This world is filled with things worth loving beyond just romantic love. Family, friends, career, and myself. I love you, she whispered, tears flooding her eyes. Paul, I really do love you. One by one, I pried April's fingers off my hand. April, your love came far too late. After that, to make April give up hope, I blocked her. Sometime later, my grandmother told me that April had resigned as CEO of Lou Corporation, handed the company to her brother, and left City A. Emma said Miss Lou went looking for the system, Pablo said. The system? She said there's a system in this world, and if she finds it, maybe she can find a way to be reborn or go back in time. I listened, feeling a little melancholic. What's the point? Instead of wishing for another chance at life, she should cherish the people who will be with her in the future. Maybe she realized she'd never find anyone who would treat her as well as you did, Mr. Chan, Pablo said wistfully. Pablo and Emma were getting married. I gave him time off for his wedding and took a day off myself. My system was helping clean up some of the issues left by Santiago's system. Now she was leaving, and I wanted to say goodbye. Holding a beer, I went to the beach and sat on a rock. "System," I called out. I've been thinking about something these past few days." "Go ahead." Why was Santiago's time limit only 1 year while mine was 5? She stammered. I smiled. Logically, even though we chose different paths, our task durations should have been the same. Each year, you made special requests for me, didn't you? She fell silent, seemingly a little embarrassed. What did you trade to get me those 5 years? My performance bonuses. As expected. Did you ever regret it? I chuckled. After all, you spent 5 years with someone as slow as me. It must have hurt your career. There was no response. System. Paul. Her voice sounded serious. I've never regretted it because I always believed that people who live sincerely deserve to be treated kindly by the world. I was stunned. The sunset dipped below the horizon, and flocks of seagulls flew past. For some reason, my eyes felt misty. Thank you. You're really a kind system. She laughed. It's nothing. Performance metrics aren't that important. What matters is enjoying the work. I had a great time partnering with you. And Paul, you're not slow at all. Those who give their heart shouldn't be mocked or trampled on. Yeah. I wiped the corner of my eye. Will I ever see you again? Maybe chat with you sometimes. I'm afraid not, she said with a hint of sadness. There won't be any more conquerors in this world, so after today, we probably won't meet again. I see. System, it's been 5 years, and I never asked, do you have a name? We don't have names, only numbers. My number's actually pretty lucky, 520. It symbolizes love. She sighed. Unfortunately, it didn't bring you any luck in love. I shook my head. What I gained here was far more than love. Thank you, little 5. I raised my glass toward the distance. The system paused. Every time you were happy, you'd tell me you were going to go twirl. I imagine you must look beautiful when you dance. She laughed. I like the name Little 5. Goodbye. The evening breeze swept by, and I knew Little 5 had left. On the other side of the shore was a field of flowers. Every flower swayed gracefully. I stood up and walked toward the sea of flowers. I've decided to stay in this world, a world with no more conquerors, a world full of unknown wonders. I believe that those who strive to live well will not have bad luck. I believe I will live a vibrant, colorful life, and I believe that one day, in the not-so-distant future, I will fall in love again, with someone who's worth it. And this time, I will love boldly and with certainty. Onward toward the road to the future.